Hello, my name is Allie, and I am the gridded knitter. I'm so offended by how hard that is to say. Okay, so welcome to my channel. Basically, what I'm here to show you is I'm going to combine two skills that I have. One is Excel, which I use every day for work. People call me the Excel guru at my work. I have not yet encountered an Excel problem that I can't tackle. So I really like Excel. I'm pretty good at it. The other thing I do is I knit, I crochet, I do every manner of crafting, but fiber is really where my life is at. So I spend a lot of time knitting. I just spent probably 3 hours knitting today. And I have seen in a bunch of the groups, knitting groups and stuff that I'm in, that people really struggle with some basic problems. And often I find myself jumping in and saying, have you tried using Excel for that? So things like charting knitting patterns that you have tried or you don't know how to do and you don't want to do by hand. And a really common one lately, because it's the beginning of the year, that people want to create weather or temperature blankets or scarves. So temperature blankets is the most common thing I've seen, are basically blankets that are either knit or crocheted. And essentially what you're doing is choosing a rule about the temperature and using it to crochet or knit each row. So in some cases, I've seen people do one row per day. So you basically find out what the color is that day you find out what the temperature is that day and you knit or crochet one row in that color. Then I've seen people do the high and the low for the day, meaning you knit or crochet one row in the high and one row in the low. You could do any number of different ideas that you have. What I'm going to teach you how to do is actually put the data into Excel and actually build the temperature chart for yourself so that you don't have to think about it too much. This also, I think, is cool. It allows you to create historic temperature blankets. So I'm, for instance, going to do the one from the year that I got married, the first year that we were married. So starting on September 12th, 2015, our wedding day, to the next year, September 12th, 2016, which is our first anniversary. So what's cool about building it in Excel is that I don't have to go check every single day for what the temperature was. And I don't have to remember because my memory is not that good, but I can just download it from a website or pull it off a website, drop it into Excel, extract the data from it, and build a temperature chart for myself. This could also be used for things like mood charts. So if you're the kind of person who wants to know more about your mood and what affects you, you could actually replace temperature here with mood. And if you keep track of your mood for a year or whatever period of time, you could build a blanket or you could make a scarf out of your mood. I've also seen a really cool one lately, which is that women are tracking their periods or their ovulation cycles. So you pick colors that mean different things in different parts of your cycle, and you assign it to a day, and then you knit a row or you crochet a row about where you were in your cycle. So I think that's really, really neat. But we're going to do temperature blanket. That seems to be the most common one, but I will show you at the end how you could change temperature blanket to mean just about anything you want it to mean. So we're going to start by getting the data that we need to build this temperature blanket. So I'm going to start on this website and let me click over. So we're on this website, wonderground.com, excuse me. W Underground, so it's Weather Underground. And on the website, you can see in the top right corner that you can put your location. So I'm going to put in my location, which is 08904 Highland Park, New Jersey. That's the one. I'm going to click on there. You can see over here, then we have history here. So I'm going to click history. And I am then going to pick custom because I want to do a custom period of time. Custom. And then I'm going to put in my dates. So September 12th, 2015 to September 12th, 2016. And I'm going to click Get History. So you can see at the top of the page here, this is just showing the averages for the whole year. But if you keep scrolling down, you can actually see that it goes all the way down and has a line for each date. So what's cool about this is I can just copy this whole thing. I haven't tried this part yet, but I've worked with a lot of data. It should probably work the same way, right? Okay, so we're just copying. So all I'm doing is clicking my mouse and dragging over. This is fascinating. Oh, we're there. So I'm just going to allow my mouse to stop there in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to hit copy, which is Control and C on the keyboard. And then I'm going to go to Excel. So I'm going to delete this because I'm sorry, I was just way ahead of myself here. So I'm going to click Control V in the top left corner, and hopefully this information pastes in a good format. So actually it pasted in a much better format that I could even imagine. So I just zoomed out of my screen so you can see all of this information at once. But basically in the left-hand column over here, I have a row per day spanning from September 12th, 2015, all the way down to the bottom, September 12th, 2016, my first anniversary. So there it is. So what I'm going to do here now is just insert a column to the left, and I'm going to put in the dates. So if we insert a column to the left, I'm going to highlight the entire row here. I'm going to right click and insert, and it'll insert it to the left there. So I'm going to start actually by deleting some information. I'm going to leave my first column here, or my first row here, 2015 and September. And then I'm going to start entering some extra information here. So I am going to put in 9/1/2015, which is the first date. Then I'm going to copy that down. Oh, sorry, no, 9/12 is the first date. So you can just click in the top here to change that in the formula bar and hit enter. So then what's cool about Excel is if you just start dragging Excel, or dragging from the bottom right corner, so just right here in the bottom right corner, grab that little handle, click on it and drag, you can see that it actually fills in the dates for those times. Now, what is going on here? 12, 13, 14, 15. Are we missing dates in this count, in this thing? What happened on September 24th? Oh, goodness gracious. Well, no big deal. We're just going to skip over those days. So I'm just going to fix this one. Hopefully this doesn't happen too much because that could be really boring. And then I'm going to actually delete these two lines. Now, the reason I'm doing that is just to give myself a clean database of information. Having these extra rows, it's not the end of the world, but it's going to make it a little tricky to keep track of what I should be doing. So I'm going to delete that. Then I'm just going to type in 10/1/2015. I really hope we don't have any more gaps like that. That's kind of upsetting. Maybe they turned off the servers for like some reason. Okay, no more gaps in this one. If you ever get these little hash lines or these little pound signs, the way to fix it is to hover between columns A and B and just double click. And what it'll do is actually extend the size of your column to the correct width for the data. So when you have those little hash signs, what it means is Excel can't show you all the data and it doesn't know what to show you. So instead it shows you little hash signs. So all you have to do, as I said, hover between and double click. So we're going to continue in the same manner. So I'm going to delete these two columns, 48 and 49. I'm just right clicking and delete. And then I'll put in here 11/1/2015. And I will keep stretching this data down, just making sure on the last day of each month that they line up. So I'm just going to keep going. One other idea, if you don't want to have to retype the date, if you just highlight the last date of the month and keep dragging, it should flip over to the next month. Yep, perfect. So we're just going to delete here. Oops, two columns. Just click once and drag and then delete. And same for January. February. Oh, there was a leap year that year. Delete. And delete. Oops, is that right? So it looks like there was another weird gap at the end of April. So we've got April 25th and then there's no more days. So I'm just going to delete that. And it looks like, wow, wait a minute. It skipped all the way to June. Goodness. Okay, well, we'll do that. 6/14/16. At least it captured my birthday. So let's do that. Seems like our weather base is not so reliable. All the way through July, August, September. Still checking just to make sure everything lines up. Oh, there we go, to September 12th. So we now have a database. And what this database shows on the left-hand side is the date. So I'm just going to put date in here so that we can see. And over here, we have lots of data points for the day. So what's cool about this specific type of data that you can get from Weather Underground is it actually shows if there was rain, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but I think I've seen some really cool stuff that people are doing with especially rain and a couple other things. So we're going to start by just making a normal, simple temperature blanket, which is one temperature for each day. So one row per day. So we're going to start by saying September. We're going to take this column, the date column, and we're going to copy it. So the way we do that is we highlight by hovering over where it has the A. We wait until it's a big black arrow and just click and then hit Control C on your keyboard. So I'm going to create a new sheet for this kind of clean data. And I'm going to do Control V on my keyboard, and that pastes the dates. The next thing I'm going to do over here is pick up the average temperature for the day. So if you scroll down, you can see these are a bunch of information all for this day. So I'm going to hit Control C. And I'm going to just enter in this little box above temperature to keep to remind myself. And I'm going to put in an F. So what's cool about this is now I actually have my exact data that I need to make a temperature blanket. I'm going to insert one more column, which is the row number that I'm working on. So if you use a stitch counter or whatever you use to keep track of where you are, you can keep track of it using this. So I'm going to, once again, hover over the A, click the arrow, hit insert. So right click, insert, and I'm going to just enter row number. And remember to start where the data starts on row 3. So row 3, I'm going to put in a 1 and then a 2 and then a 3. I'm just typing the number and hitting enter. Then I'm going to highlight the 3 numbers that I just clicked, and I'm going to show you a trick, which is I'm going to double click the bottom right corner of the box I just created, and it's going to fill in all the data down to 313 days. So that's all the days I have data for, and that's going to have to work. So next, we get to the fun part, which is figuring out our colors. So the way I like to do this is actually to find the maximum and the minimum temperatures for the year first, so that I can figure out the right difference between the numbers so that I can get a good mix of colors. So temperature blankets end up looking really cool because on either end of the blanket, there's usually the most extreme colors or whatever colors you choose. There's one end of the spectrum, and then at the center of the blanket, because it's the opposite season, you get another set of colors that looks really different. So what's cool about them is that they have this kind of natural gradient or natural ombre that people really like when they're knitting with color. So the one thing that people don't like when they're knitting with color or crocheting with color is all the ends. I have no idea how to handle all the ends. I cannot even imagine weaving in all those ends, but people do it every day, or they turn it into a fringe, which I think is cool too. Anyway, back to the point. So I'm going to find out the maximum temperature and the minimum temperature for this year. The way I'm going to do that is just clicking in any random cell. In this case, I clicked in E3, but you can put wherever. You hit enter on the keyboard, or equals on the keyboard, and then you're going to type in max, and then you just highlight all the data that you have. So max, great, and hit enter. So I have a feeling that because we're missing a nice portion of the springtime, my temperature is going to be a little weird, but whatever. So the hottest day on record during this year was 88 degrees. Sounds low. I live in New Jersey. It's sometimes a swamp in the summer, but that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing for minimum. So I just clicked on another cell. I'm going to put in an equal sign, and I'm going to type in MIN and open parentheses, and then highlight the same amount of data and hit enter. So this is more accurate. The lowest temperature for the year is a 9. So we've got 88 minus 9 is my temperature spread. So sorry, I'm moving a little too fast. So click into a cell, equal sign, click on the first cell that you want to use. So it'll just type in E3 there, which shows that it's the formula of that cell. Hit minus, and then click on the second cell. So in this case, I want to show the temperature spread, the high value and the low value for the year. So we've got a 79 degree spread. So I've heard from a lot of different people that they like to do a temperature spread that has about 10 to 11 colors in it, but this really depends on how many colors you want to buy or you have in your stash. Let's be honest, no one has that many colors in their stash of one yarn, but okay. So in this case, I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to do 10 different colors. So over here, I'm going to just type numbers 1 through 10. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to basically start with my, lowest number. So we're going to start with 9 here, which is the temperature for the lowest day. So this is the lowest number. Then I'm going to add 8 to it. So why do I know that? So I've decided that because I have 10 numbers, 10 colors, I need to divide this 79 by the number of colors that I have. So let's do that. In this box right here, I'm going to put in an equal sign. I'm going to do 79, so F3, or you can just type in 79, divided by the number of colors I have, which is 10, and hit enter. And it shows 7.9, basically 8. So we're going to round up to 8, and basically our top number will just be 1 short, but that's fine. So then if I want to show the temperatures for each of these colors, so imagine these 10 are different colors, we're going to add 8 to the number before it. So to do that, in cell I4, I'm going to type an equal sign. Then I'm going to click on I3. You can see the little marching ants that go around it. That means it's selected. Then I'm going to do plus 8. So I could just type that same formula into every single cell. I could also use a calculator or a piece of paper and actually add this up, but I'm going to show you a little trick. So like we did before, if you click on a cell and you grab the right-hand corner with your mouse, you can see that I get this little black cross, and you just drag down, it will actually do the math and the work for you. So you can see here that color 1 is going to be from temperatures 9 to 16. Color 2 is going to be from 17 to 24, and on and on and on. So the next thing we have to do is actually pick our colors to use. So a lot of people go Roy G. Biv, which is the rainbow, and I'm going to do that as much as I can, but I think there's I think it's 9. So let's just try this really quickly. So we're going to say red for the hottest day, then orange, then yellow, then green, then blue. I've lost my mind. Yeah, indigo. Sorry. All right, so you see we don't have enough colors there. So we have some options here. We can make this white and kind of do like lighter colors here, kind of like they do on the news. Let's do that. That'd be kind of cool looking. And then, so we've got violet, and we could do this as like kind of a violet, like light violet. And then let's do this as like a gray. Grayish. Okay. It really doesn't matter what you call them. But basically what I'm going to do is, just to give myself a sense of the colors, I'm going to highlight these and change them to their correct color. So if I just click inside here and I go up to here to the Home tab, and I find this little paint bucket. This is like in any program. I'm going to put in red. Then I'll just do the same thing for the cell right above it. So I'm going to click on orange. Now, if you have this version of Excel or one of the previous versions of Excel, and your toolbar up at the top keeps going away, just double click on the Home button or any of the buttons, and it will keep your toolbar visible. I find that sometimes when I'm working, I want the toolbar to go away because I want to see more of the screen. But honestly, sometimes it's easier to just have the toolbar completely visible. So I've got orange, that cell highlighted, and I want to just change my paint bucket and pick orange. Same for yellow, then green, then blue, then indigo, then violet, then light violet. Oh, I'll show you what I'm doing. Sorry. So click the down arrow here and choose more colors, and you can see a color wheel comes up. If you have a very specific color that you want to put in, you can actually pick it using the color model. Here, I'm just going to pick from the standard colors. So we'll do a light, like kind of grapey color, then grayish. Very good description, Allie. More colors once again. We're going to go for like, let's see. I'm going to choose something like that. No, too purple. So I'm actually going to go over to custom and be really, really extra for a second. Okay. That's nice. And then this one's going to stay white. So, okay. So now we've got our colors, and this is what my temperature blanket palette's going to look like. So this, if I was buying yarn to make this project, this is the amount, or this is the colors that I would buy. And obviously this is completely up to you. You can use any kind of indicators that you want to use. I've seen really cool ones that are rainbow, but I've also seen really cool ones that are all multicolors, like mermaid colors and stuff. But it's really up to you. This is your first kind of view about how all the colors are going to work together. So what I'm going to do next is actually tell, based on the dates, what the color that I want to use is. And I'm going to show you that this is really easy to do. And we can actually also make it show us what the finished blanket is going to look like, which is kind of a cool step that I haven't seen too many people do. So we're going to start by, we're going to do a little bit of formula. So it seems really complicated, but I promise you're going to be just fine. So click in the cell just to the right of the temperature that you want to find out about. So in that cell, I'm going to type an equal sign. Next, I'm going to type the word VLOOKUP. This means a vertical lookup. So VLOOKUP. This is used whenever you want to find some item in a list of other items and find information about it. It's a little bit tricky to understand, but the way I explain it at work is basically if you had a word and you didn't know what that word meant, you would look in a dictionary. So you would take the word, let's say the word is foundation. You would then take that word and go to a dictionary and look up the word foundation. And then you would read the description next to the word foundation. So in Excel, a VLOOKUP is basically doing exactly the same thing. In this case, we want to take a number, 71. We want to go over to a dictionary and then look next to that number and find out the information about it. So I've typed the word VLOOKUP. I'm going to type an opening parentheses. Then I'm going to click on what I want to look up. So what's the word? The word here is the number 71. So I'm going to click on C3, and then I'll put in a comma. Then I need to go to my table array. So that basically means where is your dictionary? And we know it's over here. So I'm going to highlight everywhere where the information is. And you'll notice I'm not highlighting these numbers. These are just reference numbers. I really want the leftmost cell of my data to be the lookup value. So it should be the same kind of value as what I'm looking up. So if this was a dictionary, the word foundation would be in C3. It would also be on this list. And then the description would be here. So in this case, we've got 71 that we're looking up. we have all of our numbers in the left side and we have the names in the right side. So you'll see now that we have these numbers all together. And there's something about Excel that is really helpful sometimes, and it's kind of annoying another time. So I'll just show you what would happen if we didn't do, actually, I'll just do the step, and you got to trust me that this is the right way to do it. So a lot of times that I look at people's formulas, they're missing this key thing. So after you've selected your data, you're going to hit on the keyboard the F4 key. F as in Frank, 4. And I'll show you what happens. So you see that it went from just saying I3 to J12, and now it has $signs. What that means is this data is not going to move. It is going to stay in exactly the same place. If you didn't have $signs, Excel would assume that the data was going to move along and move to another part of the screen. We don't want that to happen. We just want it to stay fixed. So we hit the F4 just once, and we make sure there are $signs all throughout. And if you ever mess that up or you hit F4 twice for some reason, if you just cycle through, you can see the $signs start moving. Get back to the original, just I3 to J4 reference or J12 reference, and just hit it one more time, and it will fill in all the right $signs. Now we're just going to put in a comma. We're going to put in column number 2 because the data we are looking up is in 1, and this is column 2. So we want to see what's in column 2. And then the next part is important. So if you've ever used a VLOOKUP before, you probably have typed in false at the end. Basically what this means is you are looking for exactly the right number. Now we know, we look at the first one, 71. It's not in this list. So we have a little problem, which is that we don't want to find exactly that number. We want to find approximately that number because we are going to have all sorts of numbers that are between the numbers that we listed. So I'm going to type in true, which means it's going to show up the, it's going to show the approximate value of that number. So you can see right away that I see the word yellow. And if I click and drag, and actually I can just double click on that right-hand corner, it's going to show me every day what color I should be knitting or crocheting with. So really cool. And basically all my temperature blanket is done. Now I want to go a little above and beyond because as I said, I'm a little extra. And as you can see, I love Excel so much. So I want to just do a little bit of coding to show me what my blanket is going to look like and what the pattern is going to look like. So I'm going to click on this column. And then I'm going to click up here on the Home tab, Conditional Formatting. And conditional formatting is a little bit, people don't always understand it, but I'm going to try to help you understand it as best as possible. So we're going to say new rule. There's a bunch of ways to do this, but I'm going to show a specific way. So we are going to format only cells that contain a cell value that is equal to, so specific text actually, sorry. So we're going to click the second one. I should start from the beginning. Format only cells that contain. Then we're going to change cell value to specific text. We're going to change containing to, yep, containing is fine. And then we're actually going to just click this button and it's going to let us click anywhere on the screen. So in this case, we want if the cell contains grayish, we'll start there. And you can see it says J4. We just hit enter. And when it contains the word grayish, we want it to be filled with the same color. So we hit over here, we want to hit format, fill, pattern color. So it's a little annoying because I picked that color from literally nowhere. So let's see if we can just find a close enough color. I got like moved that over there a little bit. All right, that's pretty good. And once we have the fill changed, we just hit OK. Okay. So now you'll see if we scroll down on our screen, anywhere it says grayish actually changes the color to that grayish color, which is really cool. So I'm going to do the same thing for everything else on here. New rule, formulas that contain specific text containing light violet. We're going to pick light violet. I think it was that one. Yep. Okay. And hit OK. And then same thing, we're just going to do it for as many colors as we have. And by the end of doing this, I promise you'll be very good at doing this. Just this one very specific task. Okay. Conditional formatting, new rule, cells that contain specific, indigo. I think it was this color. Dark. Okay. You can see they're starting to populate, which is kind of exciting. Specific value containing blue. It's like this color that I picked, that one. Nice cornflower blue. New rule. Cells that contain specific text. Green. New rule. Cells that contain specific text containing yellow. New rule. Cells that contain specific text. Oh, I moved ahead of myself. Orange. And then specific text. You can see I don't have much left. Wow, how did I get worse at that the more I did it? Okay, that's a little scary. All right. So you can see now basically what my temperature blanket's going to look like. So it starts off in the orange-yellow world, goes down to blue pretty fast. Wow, that here got very cold. Violet. Then we've got like some grayish colors, some white in there, right around Valentine's Day. Some yellow. Back to orange. Ooh, hot summer. My goodness. Okay. And then we switch right back and summer. And yeah, into this time of year now. I'm just trying to see what happened here. So I guess it looks like we had, I'm just like scrolling around in this year. So what's cool about this is it kind of shows you your year in just like a really quick format. Now, if I scroll out, you could see this even better. You can see just like how it's going to look. So this is where you could make decisions like, I don't want it to look like this. I want it to look differently, and I can pick different dates, or I can pick a different date spread. But basically, this is how you would build a one-row temperature blanket. So what you could then do is print out this thing as if it was a pattern and just follow it as you're knitting or you're crocheting. I'll show you how to print quickly. So if you click on the top left corner, and then you click all the way down to the bottom right of the data, and you do page layout, you select print area, set print area, and then you can print, and it'll print on multiple pages. So if you want to get fancy, you could copy some data over so you could get everything onto 1 or 2 pages. That would be fairly simple to do, save some paper that way. But I wanted to also show you some other ideas for temperature blankets that could be really cool. So a couple cool things that I've seen is that people will like put in silver if there's a rainstorm or something. So if you wanted to do something like that, and okay, so we've got over here on sheet 1, we've got a lot of other information like events. That's my favorite section. And then there's also like high temperatures and low temperatures. So just for fun, let's put in the high temperature and low temperature. So I'm going to go back over here to sheet 2. All I did was highlight this whole column by clicking on C. And I'm going to go back to sheet 2 and just insert that information. Let's do it here. So I right click on E and click insert copied information. Same here. I'm going to pick up low and do insert copied cells. Whoops. That's right. Okay. So now we've got highs and lows. So I could do the same thing here. I'm just going to drag this over. So if I just click on these two, I can just move the information over at once. So if I wanted to do 2 colors, I could do equals. If you look up this value, 77, I click comma. I click on all my data and drag, hit F4 once, comma, 2, comma, true, close parentheses, and I've got orange. And then I've got, if I want the same thing for lows, I could do equals VLOOKUP. Equals VLOOKUP. I'm going to do low 65, comma, highlight all my information here, F4, comma, 2, comma, true. So you can see all of a sudden that I have a very interesting looking chart that is going to look much more different than if I just left the average temperature. So in this case, you have two options. You can either just follow this while you're knitting and do and remember that the first column is the first row and the second column is this row. You could mark that for yourself. You could also basically change these numbers, these row numbers, and to remind yourself and say 1 to 2, 3 to 4. Let me see if Excel will know what I was doing there. No, it doesn't, unfortunately. One way, probably how I would actually do it is I would insert a row here or insert a column here by right-clicking or clicking on B and then right-clicking and doing insert. And I would do, I would just start counting this way, 2, 4, 6, and I would drag that down and do 1, 3, 5, and drag that down. So you can see now that I have double the amount of rows. There you go. Oh my gosh, that's a big blanket, 626 rows. The other thing, so, I want to show you what to do if you find NAs. So in this case, because we have the highs and lows for the day, they were actually outside of our temperature range. So you have an option here, which is you can add an additional color. So let's make this color above white. Let's make it black just for fun. So I put in 0 here. Actually, let's find out what the actual low was. So low, and I'm going to highlight this whole section and close parentheses. Oh, not low, min, M-I-N, sorry. So I just type in equals min, open parentheses, close. Ooh. Oh, shoot. I screwed that up. So actually, I'm going to do equals min and copy or highlight the whole G. Actually, I should just do the data. So I'm going to click on G3 and just drag down. And then close parentheses. And the number is 1. So it was 1 degree was the low. So I'm going to type in 1 here for black. And then in this section, all I have to do is change this, this information. So if I click inside the formula, I can see Excel actually very helpfully shows me what's already been highlighted. And all I have to do is drag that box up, hit enter. And then I need to copy that same formula to everything below it. So you can see right now, I'll just show you, for example, that some of the boxes are NA. See them here, NA. And I'm going to just drag this down by right-clicking or double-clicking in the bottom right corner. And it just made some of them say black. So where are they? There they are. In order to get the formatting the same, if I do home, conditional formatting, new rule, format cells that contain specific text equals black is going to be black. Fill is going to be black, and the font is actually going to be white so we can see it. Okay. So now you can see that I have cells that are black. So that's cool. One thing to note, if you need to copy, let's say you do this formatting on some cells and then you want to copy it to other cells. If you just click up here where it says Format Painter, so you highlight the cells you want to copy, click Format Painter, and then you just paste the format. So you can do the same thing wherever you want. Format Painter, paste the format. So you'll see it'll copy the color formatting, but it'll also copy the font or anything else you choose to do. So in this case, I have a really cool temperature blanket. I would have lots of orange spots. I'd have lots of red spots. It look really cool. Lots of purple, it looks like. So that's a high-low temperature blanket. I'm going to show you if you wanted to add a little bit of extra stuff because of rain or other events, I can show you how to do that as well. So some people add gold or silver, like sparkly yarn, or just like a strand of it when it rains or when there's some kind of event. So I'm going to insert another column here. Actually, I'll go back to sheet 1. Just click there. I'm going to copy the whole events column. Right click, copy. Sheet 2. Click on J and click insert copied cells. So we can see now I have a bunch of events, and let's see what all of them are. So I've got some snow, rain, fog, thunderstorm. Doesn't look like any hail or anything. Okay, so over here, I'm just going to type in snow, rain, fog, thunderstorm. So if I have little different colors of strings, I can actually find those colors of strings, or I can actually make a list of those colors of strings, and I can incorporate them into my project. So if it snows, we're going to say white. If it rains, we're going to say blue, actually silver. Fog is going to be gray, and thunderstorm is going to be gold. Let's just say, because of the light. Oh, that would be cool, actually. Okay. So the closer I get to this, the more I want to make a temperature blanket. Okay. So I'm going to now do a similar technique for the conditional formatting in order to show the colors of thread that I need to incorporate. So if I highlight this whole column and I say conditional formatting, new rule, format only cells that contain specific text containing. So what I can actually do is choose the word snow. And if it has snow, we are going to give it a color because I want to be sure. So we'll put a black border around it if it has snow, maybe like little dots. And we'll hit OK. So now you can see that if it snowed, that box, oh, it didn't work. Why? Maybe this has to be capitalized. Let's try that one more time. So click on J, conditional formatting, new rule, contains specific text containing the word snow. Maybe I didn't do that before. Format, and we're going to give it a little border, colored in black. Oh, that's why. And then outline it. And the fill is going to stay white. So if it's snow, it's going to contain this little border. There you go. So sometimes it's two things. So what I would recommend is if you can just take a quick look through and figure out if any of them, if they appear together. I mean, you have kind of two ways of doing this, right? So it seems like there's a maximum of 2. So let's make 2 columns here. And let's just copy the information. So I just inserted a column. Let's copy J and put it in K. So what we'll do is isolate, because we have 4 different events. Let's isolate them into columns. So we're going to do snow and rain in the first column because I don't think they ever appear together. And even if they do, it's okay because we're going to just make rain a color and we'll make snow a border. And then we'll do the same thing in this column and make fog a border and make thunderstorm a color. So we can keep track when we're doing our knitting of the borders and the colors in order to do the correct things. So we're going to new rule, contain cells, specific text containing the word rain. And we're going to add a fill of, let's pick like a nice silver color. Okay, fill. So there you go. So you can see that in these days, you should include your silver. Then over here, we're going to do conditional formatting, highlight new rule, cells that contain specific text containing fog. And those are going to be gray. Fill. Uh-oh. Okay, that's right. And then conditional formatting one more time. New rule contains cells, specific text containing thunderstorms. And this one is going to have a border in gold. Okay, so you can see basically what you look at is if you are looking for November 5th, 2015, you would knit your row in green, or if you're doing a 2-color, you would do 1 row in yellow and 1 row in blue. And in each of them, you would carry the fog strand and the rain strand. Cool? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so you could do the same thing for moods. I'm going to just do a quick one here just to show you. So let's just hide this information so we don't get confused. So for moods, actually, maybe I'll just make a new board. So we're going to just do a new sheet. And for your mood tracking, I guess we'll do the same times. So 1, 2, 3 for the rows. Just right click click and drag. And then in the bottom right corner, click and drag all the way down to 365. You can see this little counter that's going up the more that I drag. We want to stop around 365. There we go. So 365, we've got numbers all the way to 365. That's the number of rows. We're going to start on January 1st, 2018. And I'm just going to double click on the bottom right corner, which will fill in all the days. You can see some of them are kind of hashtags. So I'm going to just double click between B and C. And you can see that there is every day between now and December 31st. Yay. Okay. So over here, I'm going to then keep track of my moods, and you can pick any number of moods that you want. Some people like to define these beforehand. I don't know. I don't know if I could define them beforehand, but let's just do it this way. We'll do angry, sad, happy, content, or calm. Angry, sad, happy, calm, stressed. So for this one, we can pick the colors that are going to go with it. So let's do red, blue, happy. Let's make it like a yellow. Calm is going to be purple because it's serene, and stressed. Oh, probably orange. But what's funny is that some of these are kind of similar. So let's change these to a little bit different. Angry is going to be like a darker red, like a blood red. I really like the color green, so maybe I would put that for calm. There we go. So what I would do then, very similar as we did to the temperature chart, I would create conditional formatting on these so that it showed me what color to use. So I would, on the first day, let's say January 1st, 2018, how did I feel on New Year's Day? I think I felt pretty calm on New Year's Day. So I'm going to put in calm. Then the second, I know I didn't have work, so I'm going to put happy. And let's do the same for the third. Now, back to work, stressed. Let's say calm. And then let's do, I was with my family one of these days, so I'm going to say happy for that. Very happy for that. Whoops. You can do, I'm going to show you a cool way, actually. Since we're doing Excel stuff, let me show you some cool ways to do this. So instead of having to type it every day, you could copy and paste, but you could also do a cool Excel trick, which is called, let me find out what it's called, data validation. So I am going to highlight this whole list here. And in the corner over here where it says J3, I'm actually going to rename this, and I'm going to call it moods. Then I'm going to go to this column. I'm going to highlight all the cells, the ones that I filled in and the ones that I haven't. I'm going to put in data validation. So I'm going to click on data validation, click the little, the word, pick data validation. And where it says allow, instead of any value, choose list and then equals. And remember what you just called this. We called it moods. So equals moods. And what will happen is for every day, I can actually pick from my moods, which I think is pretty cool. So every day I could just pick. Today, I'm going to say happy. And we'll just fill these in randomly. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here that I did for the temperature blanket. I'm going to create conditional formatting that will turn these the right color as long as I put in the right information. So we're going to go back to home, conditional formatting, highlight cells, new rule, format only cells that contain specific text containing angry. Then here under format, I can pick fill and I can pick my angry color. And you can see that everything that says angry turns angry red. I'm going to do the same thing. New rule, format cells, specific text containing sad. Format, pick sad color. New rule, cells that contain specific text containing happy, yellow. Okay, and then new rule. Cells that contain, we're almost there, calm. New rule, text, new rule. Format only cells that contain specific text containing stressed. Format. Okay. All right. So then you can see what happens is when you pick a color moving forward or pick a mood moving forward, it will actually change it to the right color. So I'll do that one more time so you can see angry. When my Excel has the really nice animation, so it like fades in. Ooh, that's nice. And then you can basically just pick your days, pick your colors. And by the end of the year, you have a full map of your colors and you'll know what to knit or crochet throughout the year to do your mood blanket. So I hope that this was informative. I hope it didn't get too crazy on the Excel there. And if you have any questions, like I said, you can put them in the comments. You can also email me at, let me go back to here, griddedknitter@gmail.com, griddedknitter@gmail.com. My name is Allie, and thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great day and happy knitting or happy crocheting or Tunisian or cross stitch or whatever you do. And I hope to be back with new videos on other subjects soon. So let me know what you'd like to see. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.